in Sylacauga, and the Childersburg Chapel on Highway 280 in, Childersburg, 256-245-4361. That's Curtis and Son Funeral Home, Sylacauga, Childersburg. Visitation for Clemmy Jean Duck, age 93, of Vincent, was held last night in Childersburg. That funeral service will occur today at 2 o'clock from Curtis and Son Funeral Home, Childersburg Chapel. Ms. Duck will be laid to rest in Vincent City Cemetery. Curtis and Son Funeral Home, Childersburg Chapel, directing. Edward Lee Gardner died July the 5th. Funeral service today at 2 o'clock from Curtis and Son Funeral Home, North Chapel, with visitation from 1 until service time. Mr. Gardner was well known in the area, and he served in the Talladega County Sheriff's Office, retired fire chief of Munford, and retired security guard at Talladega Superspeedway. Online condolences at curtisondsonfh.com. Curtis and Son Funeral Home, North Chapel, directing. Mr. William Looney, age 78, of Huntsville, died Sunday, July the 3rd. Visitation today, 11 until noon at Curtis and Son Funeral Home, Childersburg Chapel, followed by a funeral service at 12. Burial for Mr. Looney in the Green Hill Memorial Gardens in Childersburg. Reverend Mark Deason will officiate the service. The family will receive flowers, or donations can be made to Gideon's International. Curtis and Son Funeral Home, Childersburg Chapel, directing. Mr. Howard Shell, age 83, of Sylacauga, died Thursday. Visitation for Mr. Shell will be Sunday from 1 until 2 at Curtis and Son North, followed by a funeral service at 2. I'll be officiating that service. Mr. Shell will be laid to rest in Evergreen Memorial Cemetery. Online condolences at curtisondsonfh.com. Curtis and Son Funeral Home, North Chapel, directing. Funeral service for Fanny Crow Patterson will be Saturday at 11 a.m. from Friendship Baptist Church in Talladega Springs, followed by a burial in the adjoining cemetery. Visitation today at the funeral home, 1 until 7, Community Funeral Home, directing. Funeral service for Nartavius Fluker Smith is Saturday at 2 o'clock from Community Funeral Home Chapel in Sylacauga, with burial in the Pleasant Hill Baptist Church Cemetery. Visitation today at the funeral home from 2 till 7, Community Funeral Home, directing. Claudia Burns, age 90, died July the 7th, Community Funeral Home, Sylacauga, with the arrangements. Homegoing celebration remembering the life of Miss Patricia Carter, age 46, of Talladega, is Saturday at 3 o'clock from S.M. Goodson Funeral Home Chapel, with Minister Marshall Hawkins officiating. Interment in the Westview Cemetery. Public viewing is today, 3 till 7, at the funeral home, S.M. Goodson Funeral Home, directing. Homegoing celebration remembering the life of Mr. Nathaniel Powell, age 71, of Talladega, is Saturday at 1 o'clock from S.M. Goodson Funeral Home Chapel, with Pastor Percy Welch officiating. Interment in the Bethel Baptist Church Cemetery. Public viewing today, 3 till 7, at the funeral home, S.M. Goodson Funeral Home, directing. Andrew Thomas Sexton Sr., age 86, of Talladega, died Thursday, June the 30th. Ursery Funeral Home in Talladega assisting the family. Mr. Sexton Sr. was a retiree from Alagasco and loved meeting with his friends at Tina's Home Cooking, downtown Talladega. Ursery Funeral Home, directing. Funeral service for Mrs. Mary Diane Smelly, age 72, of Alexander City, is 11 o'clock Saturday at the Chapel of Radley Funeral Home. Reverend Chase Clower officiating. Burial in the Hillview Memorial Park. The family receiving friends, 9:30 till 10:30 at the funeral home. Mrs. Smelly died Wednesday, June 29th. Memories and condolences can be shared at radleyfuneralhome.com. Radley Funeral Home, directing. Graveside service for Peggy Mullins, age 83, of Sylacauga, is today at 11 from Marble City Cemetery, with Brad Williams officiating. Ms. Mullins died Tuesday, July the 5th, at her residence. Visitation prior to the service, 10 until 11 o'clock today at the funeral home. In lieu of flowers, a family request donation be made to Marble City Baptist Church or the Sylacauga Animal Shelter. Radley Smith Funeral Home, directing. Kenneth Kelly Keith, age 66, died Tuesday. Funeral service Saturday at 11 o'clock from Ursery Funeral Home with burial in the Pine Hill Memorial Park. Brian Camp officiating. Family receiving friends 5 to 7 tonight at the funeral home. Ursery Funeral Home directing. Betty Ruth Turner, age 92, of Pell City, died on Tuesday. Funeral service today at 2 o'clock from Crotwell Baptist Church. Visitation 12:30 to 2 prior to the service. Burial in the Valley Hill Cemetery. And Kilgore Funeral Home directing. Memorial service for Drayton Buddy Patton, age 61, of Sylacauga, tonight at 6 o'clock from Radley Smith Funeral Home. I'll be officiating that service. Mr. Patton died June 30th. Visitation 5 to 6 at the funeral home. Radley Smith Funeral Home directing. And funeral service for Donald Wren Benefield, age 61, is also today at 2 o'clock from Papertown Baptist Church with Brother Michael Frost officiating. Burial in the Talladega Springs Cemetery. Mr. Benefield died July the 2nd. And Radley Smith Funeral Home, Sylacauga, in charge of the arrangements. This obituary report this morning brought to you by Curtis & Son Funeral Home.